Warning, this podcast does not contain Siler. Okay, maybe it does. But he's not actually in it. We're just talking about it. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV recap for Heroes. The whole series.
Oh boy, we're
weren't
gonna be here a while.
We weren't doing these podcasts when Heroes was originally airing.
No.
So now that Heroes Reborn airs next week, what is it? It airs on September 24th. We decided to try to squeeze in the whole series and see how much we could get done before it came on during our little bit of summer break-ish, you can kind of call it. We succeeded. Here we are.
Hey, got through it all.
Yeah, made it through all 77 episodes.
Some of them, though. I wanted to rip out every tooth I have and every hair from their follicles. It was... I'm okay. I'm okay, though.
You sure?
I'm here. I'm here, though.
You are here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Heroes was a very different show. When it first came out, it was very different from everything else that was on the air. And now it seems a little generic, you know?
It does.
So it was one of those shows that was kind of groundbreaking for its time.
I mean, the only thing that might have slightly rivaled it at the time would have been not even Supernatural. That came out a little bit later, didn't it?
I don't... Supernatural's been going on, 11 years now?
Yeah.
I think it started about the same time as Heroes.
Okay.
Heroes started in 2006? Is that right? I don't know.
It looks...
2007.
Okay. So... No, not... Yes, actually.
2006. September 25th, 2006.
So Supernatural had barely just started, probably.
Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah, just started.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm curious now, because I actually didn't look this up, but now that you mentioned it, Lost. When was Lost on? Lost was on, let's see here, 2005. 2004, 2005. Lost ended in 2010, and Heroes ended in 2010. So they were actually both going on around the same time, which is interesting because you had Matt Parkman was the pilot from the plane crash in Lost. Is the same actor. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I was on that track, because I didn't know how he lined up with it. But anyway, so season 1, I think hands down, I don't think there's any disagreement from anyone anywhere that season 1 was the best season.
Yes, I can say from watching all the seasons in their entirety very recently that season 1 was the best, in my opinion.
Which one do you think was the worst?
Definitely. I mean, season 3 dragged, but the last season, it was no, thank you. I'm done.
Yeah. The last season, the carnival was pretty brutal, and the ending was not that great. And I know season 3 was broken up into 2 different volumes. It worked a little bit better having the split or whatever. So it was less painful to get through or whatever. Which other shows now have adopted. You started seeing Once Upon a Time does that. Like, they have the 10-part, 11, 12 episodes split, whatever, sometimes they go a little over, sometimes they go a little under, depending on which storyline needs more of the episodes. But I think that was fairly new for a TV series to do at that time like that, was to split it. But also keep in mind that somewhere, I think it was season 2, because season 2 was only 11 episodes, that's when the writer's strike went down.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so that explains quite a bit of what happened there. And then moving forward, I think it was just too many episodes. I think the story ended up getting stretched too far. They didn't have enough story to work with. They had too many episodes because they got slapped down with growing episodes each season. They started with 23 in season one. They hit the writer's strike. We only had 11 in season two. Season three had 25 episodes, and season four had 18.
Hmm.
So I think the story in season four, as weak as it was, didn't really have many like dull parts in it. Like it was still the same story. It just the story wasn't interesting to me at all. But there was not really any down moments from the story. Like they kept going on with that story. So even with the shorter episodes, there we saw the storytelling itself in terms of downside. They were already getting better at, but and then now with Heroes Reborn coming out and it's only going to be 13 episodes, I think that's a good number for them.
It is. It's actually the number I prefer from most series. They just seem to, you know, execute everything about the show very well because they only have a certain amount of time, so they're really focused.
Yeah. Yep, there's not a lot of time for down episodes. Every once in a while, like I know another show that kind of adopted the split seasons was Warehouse 13, and
Hmm.
they still had some time for some filler episodes and stuff here and there. So it's not to say that there's no downtime for the story to like take a little break for some comedic or nostalgic purposes. Like they could
Yeah.
definitely still do that with the 13 episodes, but that space is limited, so they have to make that kind of stuff count.
Yep.
Overall, though, who was your favorite special? I should say.
Special.
I don't want to say your favorite hero because
They're, they
yeah,
bounce around. Yeah. They're never like there's never really a hero or a villain. They just are.
right.
Even though you don't see much of him, I love Micah,
Micah, Micah, Micah's story was really interesting in I think it was season three.
where he was rebel.
Yeah, like that
Yes.
was actually like that was a really really good story.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was
Yeah.
revealed to be Micah, I was just like, oh wow, that was awesome.
Yeah. Um, you don't see him much at all, especially in the last season. You don't actually, I don't think you even hear about him.
No, I don't think
Um,
he was in season four.
no. There's a lot of Tracy,
Yep.
but no Micah, which made me really sad because I think they kind of needed him. But then again, I'm kind of biased because he's a little cutie. I pinch his cheeks
Yeah.
like one of those crazy aunts.
I mean, I think everybody's absolute favorite is Siler, right? So he's kind of the obvious go-to one, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna actually say Peter for my choice. And actually not Peter from season one, surprisingly enough, which was, everybody's favorite season. I liked Peter in the last couple seasons where he was only able to keep one power at a time.
Yes. I love that because, he just became so powerful and it's like, why even bother? And then they pull this and he only keep one at a time. He can
Yeah.
switch them out whenever he needs. Well, if the special's nearby, but he can only hold on to one, which was really interesting. It probably made storytelling a little bit easier
Mm-hmm.
because he couldn't do anything anymore.
Oh yeah, 100% made the story easier because I know in the last season and stuff like um, when he accidentally took what was her name, the deaf girl. I can't think of her name right now. I just literally finished watching the episode 2 days ago. Um,
Yeah, Emma?
Emma sounds right. We'll go with that. Um, yeah, Emma.
Is it Emma?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is Emma. When he accidentally took her color vision powers.
Basically, seeing music, it's like she's dropped acid all the fucking time.
It was one of the more absurd powers out there, but it was still kind of cool in its own way. It wasn't like
Yeah.
extremely useful, but then we saw she was able to project it into like physical power.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the kicker with her powers. If she got control of it, she could cause earthquakes, and she could actually allure people to certain places. It was destructive. It was a lot of things. You wouldn't expect it from something that started out the way it did.
yeah. So there was a lot of strange powers and stuff like that. And then Tracy, she had the ice power, and then it turned into. Oh no, it
Yeah.
was water, and then it turned. No, what
No,
was it? It
it
was
was
ice,
Sarah's
and then
what.
it turned into water. Yeah.
Yeah, she did that whole like crazy frost snap thing,
Yep.
and she melted into the grate, and that's when she kind of gained control over making herself into a puddle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I feel like that power should have been learned in reverse. Like, had water first and then learned to solidify it, not the other way around. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really weird because then you saw the contrast of that because when she was introduced, there was Claire's mother, who had the
Hmm.
ability, for fire,
Oh, yeah.
and all around they're so cool. And I don't know, like it's kind of a toss up to me. Like Peter, I think will always be like my favorite in terms of the story, whatever. But the ability that I would like to have the most out of all of them is Heroes.
You and your time travel bullshit.
Gotta do the time travel.
Um, I love Hero's character, but I don't think I would ever choose time travel. Or
No?
maybe freezing time, but never time travel.
Why?
I don't want to accidentally go back and fuck up my life in the present time. You know?
But
I
you
don't
could
want
always
to,
go back and repair it.
you never can get it right. It just, you change it and either you don't remember how you changed it or you just never get it right.
So
It's
you
never going to
wouldn't
be the same.
you wouldn't like to have like knowing the largest Powerball that was ever unclaimed, writing the numbers back, time traveling, and just dropping it on your desk like 3 days before the lotto? You wouldn't like that?
Well, of course, but there's laws to that, and it's called karma, and there's the whole like you're cheating, you're kind of cheating life at that point. Um,
At least you're not using your powers of teleportation in time and space to go rob banks in secure vaults. Like, at
that's
least you're not doing that.
that's true. It's
So,
true. And Hero never ever thought of using it like that either, which
right.
was great.
Yeah. Heroes, I mean, I can't say he wasn't selfish. There,
No,
when it
there was
came
times where he was,
when it
yes.
came to Charlie, especially,
Mm-hmm.
and I love Charlie. She was such a great character.
Yeah.
But then it really started playing out when when he's like, oh, I'll go back and we could have our life together, and she had already lived it. She was already old, and then he saw she had a family, and then I think that's when he really realized,
Yeah.
going back and changing things really kind of does mess with everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hero's power I think would be the most fun to have. I'd use it all the time. All the time. I'd live through the
Uh,
day if I did something wrong, didn't like what I said, I'd just go back and do it again.
you don't like what you said, you like everything you do.
That's true. It's true. Well, I mean, like for the example, if I didn't like the way this podcast come out, man, you could just keep doing this podcast every day forever.
I wouldn't realize it, but you would. So,
I'd
you
be
know what?
able I'd be
Okay.
able to say the words that are coming out of your mouth before you say them, and then you'd really be like, "What's going on here?"
I think by now I would have figured it out.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
probably.
Oh yeah.
All right, so season one, we'll start with season one.
Okay.
Um, I don't know, the whole discovery of heroes and everything like that. I think is what interested me the most. What interested you the most in season one?
Um, hmm. That's actually a tough one because, I already knew that we're going into this show. Um, it's going to be about superheroes. I guess maybe the discovery as well because, I mean, you get that sneak peek. You already know that it's people with special abilities, but you didn't know that nobody knew about them to begin with. Maybe it was the fir- Had to be Siler. That was the most interesting part
Yeah,
about season one.
and Siler was very ambiguous with like uh, he's cutting the heads open,
Hmm.
but the brains were missing in the earlier season. It's like, where did the brains go? They just assumed he was eating them. And then there was a moment, I think it was in season, was it in season the end of season one, or was it in season two? I don't even remember now, when Siler took Claire's powers. I think it was the end of
Two.
season. Was it season two?
They were living in the other town when he did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said something about, "Are you gonna eat my brain?" And he goes, "That's disgusting," you know. So,
Yeah.
I would have rather not known, in that regards. I think the mystery was part of the cool factor of that.
I think in the first bit, like when he was first, trying to get these powers, he was kind of dismantling the brain to see how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just figured out that, oh, I just have to touch it in a certain way and I absorb the powers in a because eventually he's doing is just cutting their heads open and just touching.
Yeah, and then even later on, he didn't even need to cut their head open at all and touch the
No,
brain. He
he
was,
didn't,
yeah,
but he did anyways.
yeah, because it was fun. But
Yeah.
like, even like finding out where the powers came from, and like, Dr. Suresh and his father, and Charles DeVoe, and like that whole storyline, and like what's going on with all these people, like Peter's mother, like, I don't know, there was just so many things that you didn't know.
It just seemed
And
like it was really rare when when they were young, like his when the what's her name?
Claire.
No, it was rare when they were kids, like Charles and
Oh yeah.
Peter's mom and dad, and it was just one of those. That's why they had them in like a concentration camp kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
Linderman and all them.
yeah, and then you get to like season four, the very last season, and it just seems like the whole world's just teeming with them. So something had to have happened in that time span where specials became not so special anymore. We just
Yeah.
were hidden, but there was a lot of them.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the flashback, that was in what, season 3 that we
Hmm.
started learning all that out?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
before it was during the villains part of
that's right.
season three.
That's right. Yeah, because I don't know. Season one, I really liked like the whole discovery of like who the people are, what their powers are. Like, um, uh, what was Peter's brother's name now? I can't. Why am I blanking?
Nathan?
Nathan. I don't know why I'm blanking out on Nathan. Jeez. Like Peter was discovering his power. Nathan already knew his power, but he was hiding it from Peter. The mother had this like big secret, and it's just like, what is going on? Like, all these people have secrets, and you didn't know exactly what was up with their mother. Like, and I feel like as they revealed more stuff, the show started losing the magic. And
Yeah, that whole mysterious vibe just kind of went away.
yeah, I think they revealed too much too quickly. Um, I think that ended up being the whole downfall of it. And then there was some stuff that just straight out wasn't explained, like when Linderman died in the end of season one. Uh, what was it?
Yes.
Micah's father reached through, use his the ability where he could just like go through objects, and like ripped out Linderman's brain, or like mangled it up inside of his head,
Yeah.
and killed him. And then Linderman is showing up in season two, and the first half of season three, I believe, as like a hallucination, but he's able to go to different people and talk to them and influence, and they never ever
That
explained it.
Yes, they did. Parkman's dad. It was all him. He had to be in the same vicinity of these people, but he was the one doing it. He was able to basically just project that image of Linderman. He's the one talking. He's the one saying all these things, these people manipulating them. But then again, he always had that power to begin with. So it was just basically to fuck with Nathan.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
I must have missed that reveal or whatever.
I mean, what's her, the speedster, the lady girl. What's her name?
Um,
He was doing it to
Daphne.
her too, Daphne. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was doing it to her as well. But yeah, she didn't know who Linderman was.
And
She
I
just went.
thought Daphne was actually really cool because she was a
Mm-hmm.
special that had like the super speed, but she was actually she had cerebral palsy, where like
Yeah,
her spine was all messed up. She was on crutches, braces. She had the whole works where she could barely move. So
yeah,
and then that kind of led back to the whole discovering of the powers and everything. All of a sudden, she was able, to walk, to run, to beyond run. But then when the eclipse came and took their powers away, it was just like,
yeah.
whoa, what? So that was another thing is I never really understood where the eclipse tied into all of this.
It has to be some sort of celestial thing. Obviously from the very get-go, because I mean that's basically what they're getting at. That it has to do with like beyond the Earth and its boundaries. That gives everything and everybody their motives and
It feels very like Superman esque, where
it does
everyone on
actually.
Krypton didn't have all these superpowers and everything. They were just regular people on Krypton. But when they came to Earth, the power of the sun gave
Yeah.
them super strength and stuff like that. And it kind of feels like, since this is Heroes DC or Marvel? Actually, I don't even.
It's neither.
It is neither. I thought it
It's
was owned by
neither.
one.
I I want to say Dark Horse, but I
Okay.
think that's wrong as well.
Aspen Comics.
There you go.
Wildstorm, a subsidiary of DC Comics, released a bunch of comics. So I think, in part, it's part DC.
Yeah, it's not connected to the DC universe that we know of,
Right.
but it is, I guess, yeah, that makes sense that they
Yeah.
would borrow some ideas.
Yep. So, um, what I think Hero's father, George Takei, was
Love that man. I
was
love him.
amazing. Yeah.
He's awesome. He wasn't as candid and hilarious in Heroes. He was very serious and
He was
scary.
extremely serious.
But I mean, he's just an amazing actor.
And I love that they still found a way to slip him into every season.
Yeah.
He was there in some capacity. Even in season 4, like when he judged Hero, he
Mm-hmm.
was sitting there with the gavel and all that. But so I don't know. Season 1 obviously, is the best. Season 2, I think the whole what was the storyline with I can't Takia, I can't think of the name.
Oh, I need to see it. I
Yeah,
need to see her name. But yeah, with her, her kitty powers. Is
no,
this? No,
the
wait.
guy with Hero.
Oh, where he goes back in time
Yeah, I
and
can't think of
he's
the name of the Japanese warrior. Kenshi, Kenshi.
Kensei or David fucking Anders.
Yes, yes. Okay, David Anders. Boom, done.
There you go.
Who's in everything?
Who's in absolutely fucking everything.
Yeah, I think like I don't mind David Anders on the show, but I think
No.
that the that whole storyline going back to Japan and having Hero actually be David Anders' character, whatever he's playing the character he's supposed to be. I,
Adam.
yeah, Adam. I think that the whole or Takio hence I can't think of the name of it, and that's really bothering me.
Even if you can think of the name, pronouncing it would just
Maybe.
what?
Yeah. I think that was the weakest part of season 2. And season 2 was
It
very
was
short, but
it
that
was
took up
short.
so much of it.
It did. And a lot of it didn't seem necessary and droll. I mean, they were building up Adam as a really big guy. Like he was gonna obliterate everything, and he really wasn't.
Yeah, and it
I
was kind
mean,
of cool to see somebody else that had Claire's powers,
yeah,
you know.
that it's not like genetic or anything, that
How
it's
did he end up dying?
he was carried on into season 3.
Yeah,
Um,
he was locked, buried alive.
Uh, Mr. Petrelli actually killed him, took his power.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, took his
Yeah.
power. Yeah, okay. So I don't know. Like that starts getting me thinking now because they moved on. And then season three we had the the whole reveal of that, and then it had um, Angela's sister. Ended up being like one of the villains, and I don't know. That story I think was very weak, and
Yeah, it was.
um, at the same time I liked having the background story, but then at the same time I didn't like it because it revealed too much of the mystery. And then the carnival was absolutely awful in season 4. And the ending I think was the worst ending I've ever seen for a TV show.
I mean, the
Just saying.
carnival had good characters,
Yes.
but the way that the story was played out, it just wasn't strong enough. I mean, if I were watching it on TV back then, I would have stopped watching.
Hmm.
The ability to just binge watch it episode after episode makes it a lot easier to get through that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I remember
I'm,
when it was airing, I had watched half of the first season. I really liked it. Something came up. I wasn't able to finish it. And then when I found out it was ending, I basically power watched the entire season again and finished the second to last episode 20 minutes before the finale was on TV and caught the finale live. So I was so disappointed by it, though.
yeah, I didn't like the ending either. It felt like a wide open door. Like not even just a door, a double door that's like in a freaking castle mountain like with
Well, the whole point of it was to be
so
like,
wide open.
hey, we as specials exist, right? That was supposed to be like what the ending is. But to me, like it's just Claire climbing up, and like everybody thinks this girl's about to commit suicide. And then she jumps off this thing and she's fine, and then she's just
Just
like, I'm
pops
Claire
her shoulder
Bennett,
back in.
and I don't even know how many attempts this is. Whatever. I don't,
Yeah, I lost count or something.
whatever she's. But to me, all that's saying is that there's one person out there that can't really be hurt too bad. You know,
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
not saying that there's specials everywhere out in the world. Like,
no, like there was no explanation. Maybe if they like did like a flash forward and did like a newscast kind of thing, and they're like, people that are special coming out all over the place, just saying that I'm out, that would have been more closure, just to say that, it wasn't just Claire.
if Claire was just like, and there's others like me, that a little more clarification there.
Oh, that'd be
A
clarification. I
little
see
more.
what you dare. Or she dare.
A little more clarification.
Vacation.
Um,
Fuck. Sorry.
but like even having like Peter come in with like let's say he didn't at the time, but let's say he had his flying power. If Claire fell, whatever, stood up, and Peter just came in, swooped her up, and took her away. That's
Yeah.
still showing there's more people out there that could do different things. Like that would have been a better ending. Just
Yeah.
little minor thing. It's just like Claire is being a rebel and she's going against what her father wants, and
That's basically
like
the whole series right there when it with Claire. Like
yeah,
that's why she's one of my least favorite characters.
I like her ability though.
Yeah. I mean, it even evolves into getting no pain when she's hurt and stuff too. I mean, that has its limitations because you never know how badly you're gonna burn yourself or how cold it is.
Yeah, but if you just keep regenerating, it doesn't really
Exactly.
matter.
But I mean,
And
pain gives you a limitation where you can pretend to jerk away if you're burning yourself. So if you want to hide, then
right. Um, I know some people that have severed nerves in their hand and stuff like that, and they do things like that all the time, and it's awful. But they don't have the regeneration, so if they accidentally leave their hand on the hot burner on the stove, they have, you know, third-degree burns on their hands, but they can't feel it. You know, so it's absolutely awful. So you kind of want the regenerative powers of Claire on that one, but
Yeah, you do.
yeah. Her father, I think, is probably the glue to the whole series.
Yeah, Noah. I mean, they couldn't have done half the things in this show if they didn't have Noah.
Yeah. and it's really cool to see like he's never gotten an ability. Like, Dr. Suresh ended up with, an ability that he gave himself, and I think he still has it. Like, it didn't
He
get taken
does.
away, yeah. But
What happened
he's
was
stabilized it.
he stabilized it in season 3. He basically kind of during the eclipse, he lost it, just like everybody else.
Right,
But he was able to perfect his serum and cure himself of the mutation that was going on.
right. So,
Ugh.
yeah. The
Ugh.
mutation was a little creepy. But
Yeah.
with Claire, I forgot to mention, there was that really tense moment in season 2 when she's sitting there with the scissors and she cuts her toe off.
Oh yeah.
As as I'm watching this, I go, I wish I could see Nikki's face during this scene.
It. I mean, no, it's not that bad. That
You
kind of
didn't
stuff
turn
doesn't
away.
really.
You sat there glued to the screen.
That kind of stuff doesn't get to me.
You didn't answer the question.
The first time I watched it, I was much younger. I might have had a different feeling,
Yeah,
but like this time when I rewatched it, it's like, oh, she's her toe's gonna grow back. I no biggie.
yeah. I mean, and it gets you wondering, like, what is the extent of the powers and the abilities there? Can like she sever her head and grow a new body, grow a new
No,
head? Like, how does that work?
I'm pretty sure if her head was, it kind of works the same way as a vampire. You get it cut off, and
We don't know for sure.
I know there's that turn off switch in the back of her head, but I mean, if your
It's
body
in the
is
back of her
complete,
head, the brain, or whatever. But as soon as it gets removed, it regenerated.
but I don't think it would go to that extent where her whole body would regenerate.
Yeah, so like where does it end though? If she loses an arm, her entire arm's gonna regenerate. Like we've seen her lose basically her entire epidermal layers during the blast and everything, and she just regrew muscle tissue, skin tissue, everything back from scratch. So it's
Yeah.
it's how far can she get cut off at the waist and regrow another waist? Like
Oh man. I mean, that's obviously something they never covered because they wanted us to ask those questions.
right, like what if she got she even mentioned because that was what got me thinking in season 4. She mentioned, oh, I could be the girl that gets sawed in half every night.
Yes, but if I mean, if her body didn't regrow, you could just reconnect them and they'd fizzle back together. So,
Yeah, but we never saw it. We've always seen her body regrow.
I
So
know. I don't know. She obviously knew her limitations.
yeah,
But
see, it's not like if she gets cut in half. It's not the only thing that I think would happen in that case is her lower half would come back. She'd regrow her lower half. The lower half that got separated is not going to grow a whole new upper half. I don't think it's going to work
no,
like
no,
that.
no, no. That wouldn't work at
Yeah,
all. Because, the main trigger and the thing that helps regenerate is her brain.
right. But then that goes to what if she got split horizontal or vertically, like straight
Well,
in half? It would
her
have to
spot,
be where the cutoff spot, whatever half had the cutoff
yeah,
spot.
it was her cutoff spot was probably right in the middle. So if you went vertically, you would get it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the kind of stuff with Claire that like I was always interested in. It's like I want to see how far they could push this character, and they never really brought it to those limits to show us.
No,
So
because she was too worried about going against Daddy's wishes.
yeah, there's a lot of wasted potential there. And then like she had the relationship with uh I can't think of her name. I don't know. That girl.
Electricity Girl?
No.
Belle? Was
No,
that her
the
name?
girl in her high school, her college.
Oh, Gretchen.
Gretchen. You know
Sorry,
how I
like,
am. I'm awful with names.
sorry.
But then they never really like explored what was going on with that. Like, was Claire interested in her? Was she not? Like,
Claire's an oddball. I think she was interested to the point where she needed that person there that wasn't her father that knew about her. She needed that support.
mm-hmm.
also the unconditional attraction love that Gretchen was giving her. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's where, Claire could do a little bit more than what any other person would do, is because Gretchen was so infatuated.
See, I was really hoping that Gretchen secretly had some kind of power.
Me too.
Like I was hoping that through the whole show that,
It's like, why would she put up with Claire's shit if she wasn't special in some way?
yeah.
I
So I
don't
don't know, like I feel that story went to like a dead end. Like a lot of stuff, and granted, the show did kind of come to an abrupt halt. Um, they didn't know they were canceled until halfway through this season.
Yeah.
So they kind of just finagled that ending. So it kind of explains a lot with the ending there. But they always wanted to go back. Like there was talks of coming back to do a TV movie or something to really like wrap things up. And here we are now coming into it's been what 5 years since the end of season 4.
Gosh, yes, no,
Season 4 ended in
yeah.
2010. Yeah, so it's been 5 years.
Feels so much longer. Like, I thought there was like a 10-year gap or something, but there
Well,
isn't. I
there
mean, from when it
there
started,
is from
yeah.
the time it started. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm really excited for the season. We have a lot of characters that will be returning
Mm-hmm.
for regulars and stuff like that. Um, we know that Noah, horn rim glasses guy, will be a main feature in this. So
Yep.
when we left his character in Heroes, he was divorced. He was kind of seeing someone, um,
Yes.
and he had kind of a little bit of a rocky relationship with Claire.
That's all Claire's fault.
Right. So I think he's pretty much not going to have uh, really made up with any of those characters, to be completely honest. Claire, uh, who's played by Hayden Pent, whatever her last name, I can't pronounce that.
Penitentiary.
She's on Nashville, so her scheduling doesn't really line up. Plus, I think she's either pregnant or just had a baby. One of those two, and I highly, highly doubt that we're even going to see her in a guest appearance role. From what I understand, there is a web series out there that kind of sets the tone for Heroes Reborn that we're actually going to cover on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys stick around for that. But from what I understand, somewhere in there, there's a little bit of some explanation to where and what's going on with Claire.
Okay.
So I don't know for sure. I have not seen it yet. So should be interesting. Uh, but we know Hero will be back, and I'm very,
Yeah.
very excited for that.
You know what? I'm thinking Heroes Reborn is going to be a lot of action and not so much of the drama. Just
Yeah,
a lot of action. And I'm actually looking forward to that because I want to see people kick ass with their powers.
yeah, exactly. Um, but there is no word on Hero's best friend,
Ando,
Ando.
I actually loved that dynamic.
It was such a great dynamic.
Ando and Hero, best couple ever.
Pretty much.
Well, Hero kind of messed up that whole, shindig when he went back and fixed the past and got his sister and Ando together.
Yeah.
I was shipping Ando Hero, seriously.
It would have been interesting. Would have been interesting. So I'm kind of upset that Ando's not in it because it feels like Ernie and Bert. It'd be
It really,
weird. It'd be
yes,
weird to have Ernie without Bert. Like they go together.
they do.
So, though we did see a glimpse of future hero from season 1, who was very badass. He
Oh
had the
yeah.
sword or whatever, and Ando wasn't in that timeline. He was already dead. So if they kind of go that route with Hero and have him be, less childlike and have him in a more serious tone, I think it could work.
I mean, if he loses his little innocent humor, though, I mean, that's a way too different of a character for me. I don't know if I can handle that. My poor heartstrings.
I mean, it is a bit of a different character, but at the same time, it's not because we've seen it before out of him. So
Yeah, but I mean, we learn to love the innocent, naive hero.
right, but
He has to keep some of that.
this is 5 years later. A lot can happen. So I'm curious though if we're gonna see like cameos from George Takei. Like I would love to see it.
I mean, the only issue there is that he has aged. Even in the 5 years, he's aged
Yeah,
quite a bit. Like,
yeah,
just not just 5 years, obviously, but I mean, like, physically.
right. Um, Matt Parkman will
Hmm.
be returning. And I don't know, his power didn't start out that cool. It's just like, oh, he could read minds. But then
Uh,
then when they started like projecting thoughts into people's brains, I was like, this is pretty damn cool.
yeah, he could do exactly what his dad could do, which was anything mind related you could do to a person. Just think of, Xavier from X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Um, Mohinder,
Mohinder's back.
Doctor Suresh is back.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's still doing some scientific research on abilities and stuff from what I've seen in the previews.
Don't think that guy could ever stop.
No,
He's super obsessive.
even in season 3 when he had the wife or whatever, was it his wife, his girlfriend? I don't.
Fiance, I want to say.
Yeah, she
Like
was
they
trying
were
to get
at
him
that
to
point.
stop. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't. It was season 3 because it was when the camp was going on, and you get the
Hmm.
research from the video, whatever from that. But he didn't even want to stop then. So the he did go back to being a cab driver, but that's always just a means to an end for him.
Yep. I mean, eventually that still, I mean, everybody knew where to find him. Why would you go back to a previous job you had if you were still trying to hide?
Yeah.
Especially from people who want to kill you,
Yep.
use you.
The Haitian will return.
Right on.
Yes, that was very very good move by them.
Hmm.
Uh, I preferred Haitian season 1 where he didn't talk.
Yes, because he had that mysterious vibe to him. Yeah. I
Yep,
mean, they really did take a lot of the mystery out of the show. Looking back,
they
it's
did.
just tisk tisk.
Yeah, so I'm hoping the new characters they introduce are gonna have this new mystery about them that they don't really dive in too much on. But out of the ones that are returning, we pretty much know everything about. Angela Petrelli, we know almost everything about her. But it's gonna feel really weird to me to have Angela back, but not have Peter
Yeah.
or Nathan. And
Well,
Nathan died in season 3, and then they had that whole change Siler into Nathan kind of storyline that the whole time, the entire time after Nathan died, I'm like, go get Claire's blood. Go get her blood. Go
yeah.
get Claire's blood.
She was literally like 20 feet away. Go get
Get
her freaking
Claire's
blood.
blood. Like, I can't tell you how many times I said go get Claire's blood. Even though I've seen it before and I knew what happened. I still started yelling at my monitor, go get Claire's blood.
I think that was, the tipping point for Siler's redemption, which happened in the end of season 4. Like he just
Yeah.
turned around and said, "Okay, you know what? I can do this for the good side instead of just being an asshole."
Yeah. Because we saw Claire's blood regenerate Noah when he died.
Hmm.
He got shot in the eye, just like the pictures in season 2. They did, but they brought him back. So Claire's blood would have worked on Nathan's. Don't tell me it wouldn't have. It would have. So
Not probably would have worked even better because they're blood.
and the worst part about that whole storyline is that Noah was there.
I think Noah's a big old hypocrite. He
Noah
says,
was there when it happened. He knew that
He
Claire's
knew.
blood did that.
He knew, but but he doesn't want specials to be around. He loves Claire, but he doesn't like the rest of them.
See, I don't. I feel like he still felt for Matt Parkman. Like, you know,
Eventually, yeah, they became friends, but I mean, that's just from the constant like interaction. Like he had to run to Matt to
one of
fix
us,
this,
one of
and
them.
he was forced into that. But I mean, he still in the beginning he didn't want to deal with. He just wished that all his specials were not even there because they were just a hindrance.
I
And
mean, we did find out why. It wasn't just because they were a hindrance. We saw his backstory in season 4, in
yeah,
the Funhouse mirrors. We kind of got some insight on that, and that is like some of the mystery that should be revealed, not like some of the other
that's
mystery
true.
that should have been ambiguous. Like that one was really cool to find out. I think that was the best part of season 4, was finding out Noah's backstory and why he started hunting specials and
Yeah, his
why he's doing what he's
motivations.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So,
actually opened up so much for Noah and made him such a deeper, better character, knowing why he was thinking the way he was thinking.
yeah. But despite Noah like knowing all that and whatever, Nathan's body was never destroyed.
Wasn't.
So there's a
But
possibility that they could still do something and get Nathan back. He's not billed to be in the series at all, but from what I understand, there's more guest stars that have not been named that they're keeping under wraps, just for quick little appearances. They're not going to be, in 2 or 3 episodes. It might just be like a one-off appearance that we'll see, very briefly. Um, like Tracy. What's her last name? I don't know.
first names are all that matter to
Yeah,
me right now. I know I can see the person in my head
yeah.
that's
Well, Tracy, and whatever other character she played, Tracy was the only one that was left alive at the end. They could just do something where Tracy just like walks by. They don't need to have her even have dialogue, whatever. But just seeing her would be kind of cool. Just she's just in a cafe drinking coffee, whatever, and it's just like, ooh, just like little Easter eggs for people that know, that doesn't take away and doesn't like take time from the main story that they're trying to tell in the new show, but just to give like a little Easter egg throwback to people like us that really spent time and invested time in the first season or
I
first
can
series.
yeah. I can see her standing in the background of a newscast behind one of those politicians she likes to work for, and that's all you get to see of her.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be enough.
Yeah, just have like one of the politicians on TV and she's just
Hmm.
standing there with a clipboard or something. It's
Hmm.
as much as you need of her. Um, But like I said, it's gonna be weird having Angela around without her kids.
It will be, yeah.
So I'm curious what her role is, because they did say that she was returning. So she's gonna have a pretty. I'm not gonna say she's gonna be like the center of the story or anything, but she's gonna have a substantial role. They're not gonna just introduce her and announce her as a character to have her be like a background character for an episode.
I don't think she's learned her lessons
Of
from
course not.
any of the other seasons. I think she's going to have a really similar role.
Yeah.
Really similar. And I want to just slap her. Stupid.
Yeah. And like have her children abandon her? Like, well, Nathan is gone, whatever, he's dead, but has Peter abandoned her? Like, is that why we're not going to see Peter on the show?
I think Peter was really active in trying to hide and ended up being, revealed that he was one of those specials that was just, he was unpredictable because he was predictable to begin with. And then near the end of the series, he became very unpredictable, which actually made him a threat to a lot of people.
Right.
So I'm guessing he got found out, and when he was trying to help others, he kind of either got the bad end of the stick or he's in real deep hiding,
Yeah.
like in a cave somewhere.
Yep. And then last but not least, Micah Sanders.
Yeah. He's
So
not so little anymore, though. I don't think
he's
he would
not.
appreciate me pitching his cheeks.
No, which cheeks are you pinching?
his his face ones.
Okay, okay. I was gonna say I don't think he would have appreciated the other ones no matter what you did. Um, But I'm hoping
Uh,
that they give him like a rebel style role again. Like I'd really like to see him an active part in helping the specials, like learn who they are and help rise up and do whatever they got to do.
The
So
thing is, he was calling himself Rebel, but when you got to see him in that season, he was justified. Like he was like, I'm a hero, his puffed out chest. He wanted to help. He wasn't being a rebel.
right, he was being a rebel to the system. Is basically what it was. He was just being a hero though. But yeah,
Yeah.
so. But as far as the new series goes, it says that the miniseries will reconnect the basic elements of the show's first season, in which ordinary people discover that they have special abilities. And it says Noah Bennett, aka Horn Rim Glasses, is also. Or hold on. The series will take place 1 year after a terrorist attack in Odessa, Texas, back where the first one was set. The attack destroyed the city, and the government blamed those with extraordinary abilities. Consequently, they must live in hiding or flee from those with bad intentions. Two such vigilantes, Luke and Joanne, lost someone important in the event and seek revenge. Noah Bennett, aka Hormrim Glasses, is also in hiding, but is found by conspiracy theorist Quentin Frady, who tries to show him the truth beyond the Odessa tragedy. While they're in hiding, some of them are discovering their newfound skills. Uh, Melina is brave and a courageous girl who brought up much overprotective, but she finds out she's destined for greatness. Erica is the head of a highly successful tech conglomerate called Ren Renatus.
I lost this. The
Called Renatus. We'll go with that.
Renatus, yeah.
And she has her own dark goals. Awkward teen Tommy, who is the one I'm actually the most interested in seeing. He's played by actor Robbie Kay, who played Peter Pan in Once Upon a Time. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of him. Awkward teen Tommy tries to live a normal life and has eyes for his dream girl Emily, but discovers a new terrifying ability that makes his will almost impossible. And then meanwhile in Tokyo, Miko, a unique and quiet girl, is looking for a missing father, but she hides an extraordinary secret that can be dangerous to her. Somewhere a singular type of hero is emerging through Carlos, a former soldier. As long as new heroes are emerging, some heroes of the past, such as Hero, Matt, Parkman, Mohinder Suresh, the Haitian, Angela Bocelli, and Micah Sanders, among others, will cross paths with them. And together, they will have their ultimate quest: save the world and mankind. So it's staying very true to
The first
the
season.
theme of Heroes, and not
Yeah.
just the first season, but all of them. All of them were, everything was over dramatically save the world. So I really like the fact that there's going to be all new people with powers. We're going to learn all new backstories and everything. We're going to tie in some of the old characters to keep, the universe cohesive, and help us relate to it better. Because I think without having some of these major characters to connect with in the new series, that it would have been very difficult to
Yeah.
brand it as heroes and have the older fans accept it.
Mm-hmm.
So I am really, really, really excited, way more than I was for season 2, 3, and 4 of Heroes. So
Yeah, this is looking real good.
yeah.
I mean, I know you haven't watched any trailers, but I'm saying they look good.
Hmm.
They look real good.
And I know one of our members of ASO TV, Erica, has already watched through the entire miniseries. I asked for no spoilers. The one thing she did mention to us was that if the show is anything like these web series, it's going to be phenomenal. So
That is awesome news.
yeah, so I'm even more excited. So if you guys have not checked out, it's a 6 chapter web series prequel called Dark Matters, and just Google Heroes Dark Matters. It's on the official website for NBC. So you can check it out there. We will be covering that on Monday, and which will be 1 week before our Heroes Reborn podcast for the first episode.
Yep.
I'm going to predict right now the show will be renewed for season 2.
They weren't planning on it, but yeah, I think
They
it's gonna
weren't
happen.
planning on it. There was an interview with the director. The director said he would not be against it if they can keep the 13 episode format because he felt it was perfect. So,
And I completely agree.
yeah.
So,
He's and TV was in a much very it was in a very different place than it is now. They're really starting to learn, accept how the different shows and stuff operate. Some shows can do 22 episodes fine. You have
yep.
a show like The Vampire Diaries where there may be 1 or 2 episodes that are really like down, and it's just like we could kind of do without it, but it kind of needs that drop off moment at the same time too, because you can't have everything be super climactic, all the time.
Yep.
But then you have a show like Once Upon a Time where it's 22 episodes, but they split it up, so we have basically 2 miniseries,
Yeah.
in the middle of it, and then we just have shows like
American Horror Story.
iZombie, or American Horror Story, which are just short shows that know what they're doing. They're accepted. This is all we are, and if you don't like it, tough. But
Tough, don't watch us.
we're gonna pack it with everything we can and make
Oh
it
yeah.
good, so they don't have to stretch the story out, and that's the most important part. So I think if Heroes remained, a 13 episode show from the beginning, that it would probably still be on TV right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
yep. So I'm really looking forward to this. I can't wait, and I think the final scene has to be Siler.
Oh my God, if they bring Zachary back into the show, I'll be even more like weepy than if he came back on American Horror Story.
Mm-hmm.
I want him on both places.
Because
Just
I'm sorry,
both. Do both.
as much as you don't like Claire, like Claire is kind of an essential part of the show. She was like the first character that we were really introduced.
I've come to
So
terms with that. I still
right,
don't like her, but I've come to terms with
right.
that. It's kind of
So
like Emma on Once Upon a
this
Time.
whole
I've come to
show
terms with that.
is gonna feel so weird not having Peter, not having Claire, and not having Siler. It's not gonna feel the same. I'm glad that they got some of the other characters in there, but I know that Milo and Hayden they dated while they were filming Heroes, and there was a lot of friction with them past the first season. Oh, you didn't know this.
I had no
And
idea.
there
Coffee
were
chat.
not many scenes with the two of them together past it because supposedly Hayden did not want to act with him on set. There was granted she was a lot younger at the time too, so
Yeah.
I give her some leeway. If this, I don't know, I wasn't on set. These are just what rumors I was reading, online. So if they're true, it explains a lot. There was not too many Peter Clare scenes toward the end of the series. There was less and less of them as time went on. And if a lot of the crew from the original set is back for this, there might be some memories of having the two of them on set making things difficult. So that may be a reason why. Because I remember when it was first announced, Hayden said that she was not even approached. So I don't know if things had
Ouch.
changed, because she's been tight-lipped on it since. She hasn't said a word about it since that
Yeah.
original announcement. But that was before they announced any returning cast members. So, she could have a very minor role. I haven't watched the web series, like I said. Supposedly, something is explained with her in it, involving her. So, probably get that. But I still feel like no matter what is in the web series, I feel like we have to see Claire. It's just going to feel weird. Same with Peter. Peter's got to be there somewhere. I mean, Milo just made a cameo in Gotham. So he's still acting. He's still around. So I want to see him for sure. And I kind of feel like he's in the same boat. Like he would feel very hurt if they didn't ask him to be on the show. So I feel like they're keeping him a secret, and the same with Zachary. Like Siler, the whole show was Siler. You can't do it. You cannot do this show without Siler. So even if just we go through the whole show, and because if you put Siler in too early, it's gonna taint things. You're not gonna you're not
Oh, wow.
you're not gonna be focused on the characters that you're supposed to be focusing on. You're just gonna be
true.
like, where is Siler? He was. So if they're gonna introduce him, the last episode, like one of the last 5 minutes somewhere in there, that'd be the best place to put him. And then if the show gets renewed for season 2, like the director and the writers and stuff are hoping, then if Zachary's schedule lines up, they could probably work him in for a short arc. So
I hope so. I mean, if you haven't seen all the rest of his stuff, be it be it his movies or his other TV shows, I mean, brush up on Zachary, guys. Zachary Quinto, brush up, because he is an amazing actor as well. I mean, they've got a lot going for actors and actresses on this show.
yeah. Yep. I don't know. I can't say enough how excited I am for this show. This is probably the fall show that I'm looking the most forward to out of everything that we're covering right now.
I don't know. There's so many good shows coming back this fall season. I can't make up my mind, because the other day I said it was going to be American Horror Story Hotel, and now all this information coming in about Heroes Reborn. I'm like, I don't know how to feel anymore.
Yeah.
My emotions are all over the place.
Yeah, I'm sure the web series is gonna spark our interest even more. So, on Monday you're gonna see the two of us glowing, and especially Nikki, who's going to be thinking about Siler's taint. So, yeah. Any final words, thoughts, or puddles from you, Nikki?
Puddles. Oh no. No. I mean, the season, like the whole series, it worked until the very end. It was disappointing at the end. But I mean, the initial concept, amazing.
Yeah. Erica in chat says that this has potential for being better than Doctor Who, and that says a lot. Erica is a huge Doctor Who fan, so like, yeah. So.
I mean, I could be biased and say I'm not a fan of Doctor Who, so I don't agree with that comment, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. I don't want to start a fight.
Well, if you're not a fan of Doctor Who, then this would be better than Doctor Who.
Exactly. I don't want to start a fight, because there's people who will disagree with me. So.
Yeah. What if Jeffrey Dean Morgan made a guest appearance on this show?
On this show?
Yeah.
They better make him a freaking, all the time character, because that's all I want to see.
Yeah. Nikki, where can people?
Lakes, whole fucking lakes.
Wow. Nikki, where can the people find you swimming in the Great Lakes?
That's not something you should be doing. But anyways, you can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Excellent. You can find me down below at Phenomenon, Phenomedom. You can also find us on Gmail, G+, Twitter, Space, and right here on YouTube at /ASO TV Podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows. Until Monday, when we cover the web series.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Bye.
So many puddles.
Lakes, but not the great ones. Those ones are like tainted with not Siler's taint, but other taints that you don't want to swim in.
You don't want to swim into Siler's taint?
No, no.
You do want to swim in Siler's taint.
No.
Make up your mind.
Maybe.